Jai Gurudev. Today we will continue reading book Problems of Today, Solutions for Tomorrow. Chapter 3. Learn to see the truth behind the illusions. God has bestowed the highest level of consciousness and emotional stimulus to human being. On account of coordination of his physical and mental capability, he is rightly considered as the most competent living being on the earth. He has earned his qualification by virtue of achievements by his physical body. However, if one takes into account his invisible innate existence, that is, astral body, it would appear that he has an unusual control not only on matter but also on the extrasensory constituents of the universe present in the invisible field around us. In this way, man has an access to both visible and invisible constituents of the universe, and because of this qualification, the human existence is considered superior to an angelic entity. Thus, man has been rightly regarded as an angel who has lost his way. Deep within the astral body of a human being lies omnipotent spiritual power of the soul, which he is unable to utilize because of his entanglements in the visible materialistic objects of the world. As a consequence, he continues to suffer from miseries throughout his life and wanders about in bewilderness. The roots of all confusion lie when he forgets his own real self and mistakenly identifies himself as merely a physical body. In this confusion, he treats the vehicle, that is body, as the driver, that is soul. A mirror reflects only the body frame of a person and not his entire personality. The body, too, though significantly in the human existence, does not represent the human entity entirely. For this reason, though desires and requirements of body are to be fulfilled to a certain extent, it is not desirable to waste one's total resource on such fulfillment. The relationship between the vehicle and the driver is to be properly understood. Atom is an infinitesimally invisible particle of matter which is apparently an insignificant constituent of nature. Nevertheless, the nuclear energy inherent in an atom is enormous. A human being is repository of billions of atoms, microbes, chemicals, and electric currents. An average human body is 1.65 meters height and 60 kilogram weight, consists of perhaps as many shells as the total number of orbits of stars, planets, and satellites in the solar system. Thus, the total magnitude of power within the human system is beyond imagination. With this inherent power, he is capable of managing the natural resource of the earth entirely. Notwithstanding its smaller form and incompetence, a human being is comparable to God. For this very reason, divinity has always manifested itself on this earth in human form. Angels, which is Devata, may or may not exist in heaven. Angels like man and woman have been taking birth on this earth. They have appeared as superhumans and messengers of God. As angels, that is Devata, the superhuman have been found engaged in creation, and as devil, which is Rakshas, in destruction. In either case, they are known to have surpassed all limits. When man forgets his true identity, he begins to behave as a representative of devil, that is Rakshas. The moment this self realization dawns in him, he understands his true identity and capability, and nothing on this earth can prevent him from climbing the peaks of excellence and become great divine Superman. Everyone on this earth creates an environment for himself with his own willful perception and outlook. One is at liberty to wear colored glasses and see the world around him in the colors of his choice. Similarly, one may choose his eyes to surround oneself with darkness or plug the ear for total silence. Likewise, heaven, which is Swarg, or hell, which is Nark, are merely perceptual illusions which human beings continue to create or modify according to their will. All matter comprising of this earth and its object is inert. There is nothing good or bad in it. The only attributes of matter are size and shape. Happiness and unhappiness associated with objects are because of one's own perception. Thus, matter cannot generate pity or sin. Only utilization or misutilization of matter gives one the sense of committing a virtuous or a sinful act. A railway engine, however powerful it may be, cannot reach its destination on its own. Driven by itself, it may at the most meet with an accident, but to reach its destination, it requires the human guidance. It is therefore evident that the inert matter and the objects on this earth do not in the least affect the environment. It is the human being, the direct manifestation of bioenergy of the universe, which is fully responsible for creating each and every type of environment. It is thus imperative that for shaping the future in accordance with our requirements, it is desirable to take a stock of the factual position and generate mass thinking accordingly. Physical requirements of man have hardly changed through the ages, but society is known to have been more prosperous and happier earlier, that is Satyug, than it is today. This is because there has been a major change in men's thoughts and behavior. Man not only makes his own destiny, he even plans and influences mass thinking, social activities, and mass movements according to his wishes. Our objective here is not to water the withered leaves, but to provide nutrients to the roots. A question arises: what is required for a happy and a prosperous future? There is one and only one answer: change the perspective. One may feel satisfied in giving shape to a variety of plans and arranging logistic for their implementation to usher in a bright future. The planners are, in fact, ever busy in finding ways for human prosperity. Nevertheless, their efforts hardly mean anything more than moving pieces on a chessboard. The winner of the game always turns out to be the person with greater mental analytical capacity, though for no reason whatsoever the pieces on the chessboard gets the credit or discredit for the outcome of the game. A shallow thinker lays total emphasis on visual, material substance and events. Only few blessed with the invisible attributes like philosophical thinking, analytical bent of mind, enthusiasm, and courage are able to appreciate the dexterity of the master puppeteer working behind the scene. Only he has the real solution to all problems. It is futile to attempt to manure the captive puppets. Nevertheless, children become fascinated by moving toys. They are hardly aware of the mechanism within responsible for the moments. Chapter 4. Who would confront this adversity and how? Many problems facing humanity today appears beyond redemption. They are source of worry throughout the world. In spite of best efforts, the top talents and elites of the world have not found solution to these problems. The biggest crisis confronting the world today is that created by continuous addition to pollutants to the environment. Industrial establishments are polluting the atmosphere to such an extent that the day is not far when living beings will not have enough oxygen left to survive. Industrial effluents being discharged into rivers are also gradually poisoning the source of drinking water. Regular consumption of water containing small undetectable amount of pollutants have become a potential health hazard. Chemical fertilizers and insecticides too are finding their way into food items and thereby affecting health. Atmospheric temperature is also rising each day because of pollution and bringing in the possibility of rising in sea level and ablation of perennial ice covered closure. The protective layer of ozone over the troposphere is being destroyed, thereby increasing the possibility of penetration of dangerous ultraviolet radiations. Trees and vegetation, which helps in preventing environmental pollution, are being recklessly destroyed. Consequently, there is a progressive increase in expansion of deserts, migration of productive nutrients of soil, devastation by floods, abnormality in monsoon, and many other natural disasters. Reserves of natural resources like coal and oil are fast coming to an end because of heavy consumption by the industries. Where is man going to find fuel for these industries and for fast moving transportation in future? Besides, reserves for other raw material for the industries and transportation system are also finite and are not likely to last longer. There is a growing trend of reclamation of land from natural vegetation cover for residential complex, industries and offices. Decrease in expansion of fertile land has resulted in paucity of fodder, creating serious ecological imbalance in the animal kingdom. Animals, trees, and human beings are interdependent for their existence. Depletion or destruction of one of them would inevitably mean extinction of the remaining two. Fertility of land, which is essential for human and animal kingdom, is maintained by humus produced by the tree and the excretion of human beings and animals. Environment of earth and monsoon to work in perfect harmony to bring in rains at an appropriate time and place and prevent expansion of deserts. Man, animals, vegetation, and climate are thus perpetual in the state of delicate environmental equilibrium, which is essential for survival of biological system. Today, man is bent upon distribution this very equilibrium, which would mean nothing less than total disaster in the future. Why is humanity following this suicidal course? It is been emphasized that population is expanding by leaps and bounds. Consequently, a much greater need is being felt for a more resource to provide for food, water, housing, industry, business, education institution, hospitals, and many more such facilities. How is it then possible to provide for the ever growing population without distributing the ecosystem? On the other hand, it is also not possible to put a sudden brake in the population growth. Of late, a new type of business, that is, war, has come in existence. The 20th century has been a witness to two world wars and about 200 religious skirmishes. Notwithstanding enormous damage to humanity in terms of loss of youth power and family tragedies, enough manpower, money power, and brain power has been lost, which would otherwise have been sufficient to make the civilization of this world prosperous beyond imagination. Even today, man is wasting his efforts more for destructive preparedness than for creativity. The economic balance of the society has also gone haywire, making the poor more poorer and wealthy more wealthier each day. In their craze for monopoly, the affluents are spreading their nets to grab stock markets and industries and to achieve their objective, following a variety of capitalistic, that is, expansionistic policies, as a consequences of which human sufferings are increasing manifold. All this has indirectly dealt a telling blow on the physical and mental health of the common man. Medical specialists, pharmaceutical research, and hospitals have not been able to keep pace with the increase in diseases. It appears that not too far a future, a healthy man will be a rarity. Since education is aimed at providing jobs only, there does not appear a way to prevent unemployment and inoccupation in future. There has also grown a tendency to acquire expensive education for a higher living standard. The expense on such education is being counterbalanced by establishment of parallel income systems like bribery. It is understood that about 85% of budget allocation for welfare schemes is absorbed by the bureaucracy. What percentage of the remaining 15% reach the beneficiary after absorption of a large chunk by the middleman is anybody's guess? Nowadays, such democracies exist only for name's sake, wherein the voter is said to be the controller of administrative power at the grassroots level. But it is well known that in the existing illusions and political pressures, the basis for intelligent exclusion of franchises simply does not exist. Under the circumstances, one is bound to wonder whether the present democracy is at all effective for administration. Today, materialism has wiped out men's faith in idols. Man is concerned about his own personal material benefits. Idols relevant to human dignity are, though given only lip service, hardly anyone is seen being practiced. Misrepresentation, conceits, and slender languages are gradually replacing religions and religious activity. With this widespread adverse environment, one tends to feel bewildered and wonder whether it is at all possible to lay any foundation of a prosperous and happy future. End of part 2. Jai Gurudev.